Before we start the video, I'd just like to let you guys all know that the sugared sponsor of this video is Squarespace. All right, so our first stop today is actually to pick up some RAM. Homeboy said that he's bringing some RGB 16 gigabytes of 3000 megahertz speed clock speed RAM. So hopefully it works as it should, and there's no scratches and it's not too beat up.
How's it going?
Chris, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, sir. It was fast.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I literally had that on a couple weeks ago, and everyone who messaged me was just
lowballing the hell out of you.
Oh yeah, and I see.
Are you the one selling the computer parts?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Now I'm assuming you've built computers before.
Yeah, I've definitely built before.
Since this is like a few months old, grab some rubbing alcohol,
Okay.
wipe off kind of the excess thermal paste that's there.
Got that too, obviously. Have the rest of the day, man. Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you. So, power supply used for a month?
Yeah, just about.
Awesome.
Well, everything right here.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
No problem.
Have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Hey, how's it going? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 110. Awesome. Let's just check this out real quick. Awesome. Looks good, man. Appreciate it. Hey. You know, just trying to buy some parts. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's good to go, man. It's reformatted.
Sounds good. All right, so 20, 25, 30?
Yeah.
Thank you so
where
much.
I live. No, absolutely.
All right, so it's been a week and we finally have all of our parts ready to go. So really quickly, what did we get and why did we get it? First thing we're gonna start with is the RAM. This is Corsair Vengeance, the RGB variant of this RAM, and it is amazing. This is a 2-stick kit for a total of 16 gigabytes, and it is clocked at 3000 megahertz speed, which will help very much for our processor. This normally retails for $105, but we got it for $80. Next, we have our CPU, motherboard, and cooler. Now this deal did come with some RAM, but we're gonna exclude that price because it was already used for a separate video and a separate computer. Inside this bundle is a Ryzen 5 2600 processor and an X470 gigabyte Aorus motherboard. The reason we went for the Ryzen 5 2600 is because it is a cheap, perfect alternative for the i7 8700. I think it's a great option because you get very similar performance in nearly all tasks. And the fact that it comes with an X470 gigabyte Aorus motherboard is amazing because not only is this thing absolutely beautiful, it comes with RGB lights and a ton of additional features. Normally, this processor and the cooler retails for $170 and the motherboard retails for $180, but we got the two bundled together for only $200. Next, we have our graphics card. This is an MSI RX 580, and I think this is the perfect alternative to a GTX 1060. If you look up any benchmarks comparison video between this graphics card and the GTX 1060, you will see that the performance is almost identical. On top of that, in certain games, the RX 580 actually gets higher frames per second. This thing normally retails for $220, but we got it for only $110. Moving on to our SSD, we have a Samsung 850 EVO 250 gigabyte model. Now, for those of you that don't already know, the reason we're going for an SSD instead of a traditional hard drive is because SSDs are faster. This is where Windows and all of our games are going to be installed onto. Now, the only downfall of this system is it does not have that extra 1 terabyte hard drive that the computer at Best Buy did. However, I would make the argument that the SSD we're using is slightly higher quality, and since the purpose of this computer is gaming and streaming, I don't think that the 1 terabyte of storage is 100% necessary. Normally, this thing retails for $50, but we ended up getting it for $30. And the power supply that's gonna be powering this whole system is the CX550 by Corsair. Now, normally, buying a used power supply is the biggest no-no in computer building. The reason I say that is because if you do get a bad power supply and something fails inside of it, it does have the potential to take out the rest of your components in your system. However, the reason I was so comfortable buying this is because the user said that it was only used for 1 month, and upon inspection, I saw no dust inside this thing, which makes me believe him. Plus, normally this thing retails for $50 and he was only selling it for $20, and you know, $20 is $20. And lastly, we have our case. This is probably the purchase that I am most proud of because I've been trying to work with Cooler Master's H500P for a while now. The reason I haven't is because this thing retails for $250. And you can probably see why. The aesthetic of this thing is absolutely amazing and the white color scheme looks beautiful. On top of that, it comes with these massive RGB fans that I'm gonna be installing into the front of the case. And from what I've seen in the pictures so far, these things look absolutely amazing when they're turned on. Now, I won't say that this was the perfect purchase because there are some small scratches on the back. However, I'm not gonna show those to you guys because I wanna keep up the illusion that everything I'm doing here is perfect. So if you've been doing the math so far, the retail value of this system is $1,025. The price and the performance of this system is actually relatively similar to the computer at Best Buy. However, if you've been doing the math, then you would realize that we've only paid $520 for all of this. On top of that, this system has so much more RGB that it's gonna feel like that $1,000 system. But we are not in the clear yet. Obviously, all of these parts are used. There is no guarantee that everything here is gonna be working perfectly. So without further ado, let's see if I wasted $520 and build this thing. Okay, so everything is put together, and as you can tell, this thing looks so clean. Now, I'm a little bit nervous because I haven't turned it on, I haven't tested it yet, but at the very least, let's see how the lights look in this system. All right, before I have too much of a nerdgasm, I do need to quickly explain some things. So when buying used, not everything goes perfectly, and there are oftentimes minor compensations you do have to make to save that extra dollar. In this case, there were a few minor issues. So number one, the 200mm fans that came with the H500P are broken. They don't work. I tried plugging them in. No matter what I did, they would not power on. They wouldn't light up or spin. Fortunately, we did have a solution for those. Inside is a kit of 5 up here RGB fans. Now, as you might have noticed, I have the remote in my hand and they can actually change colors like so, and I think it looks so sick. Now, unfortunately, this did cost us a little bit of extra money, but it really was a small dent in comparison to the total budget. This kit of 5 only cost $30 on Amazon. So that does bring our overall budget to $550, but I think for a kit of 5 RGB fans, that is more than worth it. The other issue that came with this case, unfortunately, which is my fault for not researching how this thing is supposed to look before buying it, is that this H500P is supposed to have 2 SSD mounts in the front, and they're both missing, as well as the mechanical drive slots. So unfortunately, there was no spot to actually put our SSD, and as we speak, it's kind of just laying next to the power supply. But you can't see it, so out of sight, out of mind, and realistically, a system like this, you're not gonna be moving it around. So as long as you're not kicking this thing and shoving it in places it's not supposed to be, that shouldn't be an issue. Plus, there are a lot of other makeshift DIY ways to keep your SSD in place without a bracket, and I'm sure you can look those up on YouTube. And finally, the last minor issue that comes with all of these purchases is the I/O shield, better known as a brace. Unfortunately, it is missing, and the motherboard does kind of have this little hole going on, but since the X470 by Gigabyte Aorus is actually so thick, you can't really see into the case from this angle, which is kind of nice. But that covers about all the minor issues with this system. They're nothing major, they're not going to affect performance in any way. As a matter of fact, having a kit of 5 fans in here might actually provide for better airflow. So now that we've covered that, let's see if this computer actually works. All right, moment of truth. No, what do you mean no signal? All right, so the graphics card took a little bit of troubleshooting, but we're all good. I'll be honest, I think this thing looks a lot better than my actual main system, and it cost a hell of a lot cheaper too. I would say that the best part about this thing is that, let's say you did have that $1,000 budget to buy that computer at Best Buy. Since we only spent around $550, and if you did some deal hunting and built something similar for yourself, there would still be plenty of room in that budget to either add some performance upgrades or make it look even nicer. I think this should go without saying, but the potential for this idea is limitless. Anyways, so enough talking about this thing. Let's see how well it performs. So as you guys can already see, this computer is absolutely worth it. The benchmarks are easily on par with the computer we've been comparing it to throughout the entire video, and it is definitely worth your time. With the exception of people that make $700 in 5 hours, which if that is you who is watching this video, I don't know why you're here. It looks nice, it plays nice, it's a nice system. This thing is definitely nicer than my own PC, and I'm still trying to figure out what I should be doing with it. If you guys want to have any influence on that decision, I highly recommend you stop by the Discord server that I have linked below, or on the Twitch streams that I do quite a few times a week, also link in the description. So before we wrap things up, I just have to remind you guys that the big daddy sponsor of this video is Squarespace. For those of you guys that don't already know, it is an all-in-one service for website creation. Not only can they host your website, they can help you buy the domain name, and they can help you make it look professional AF. Now, why would you need a website? Well, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Clearly, if you've paid attention to this video at all, you can see that there is some potential to make some pretty serious money by building computers. One of the best things you can do for yourself to help you sell a computer that you might be creating is have an online presence. And by using Squarespace, you can easily create a professional design for yourself. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found this creative, entertaining, or informative in any way, shape, or form. And as always, have a great day.